Hello, welcome back. We've just took a quick break. We have just done our character creation for this session of Dungeon World, which I've titled Broken Teeth. And now, my dear friends, we get to begin the story. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so I think we're going to pick up. I'm going to say that Duke Brandon Heffingly, the your nephew, or your not your nephew, your like nephew's nephew, great nephew, who's inherited a lot of power, has asked you for a favor, and the favor that he has offered you was to investigate the nearby village of Treston. He's staying in Sildale, so you three are returning from Treston. Treston had been totally ransacked. It was ashes. Everything was destroyed. There were terrible beasts that had come from the wilds, where normally the protective seal would keep them out. One of you is, let's say, who would most likely be carrying like the corpse of an animal to prove what had happened there?
I think on size grounds, it's going to have to be me.
Okay, so you're maybe carrying the head of some terrible beast, unnameable beast that had that you had conquered, but you had successfully investigated this area, and you're returning to Sildale. You cross over the protective barrier again that keeps out the bad weather and keeps out the beasts, and you notice that like the temperature gets warmer because it was icy cold outside, and now it's like warmer, and everything's a bit more verdant, and you're coming into the village of Sildale when a young lad from the village rushes up to you and in a sort of desperate tone says, they're cutting off Brandon's head. Come. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll rush after the kid.
Okay, so
Hawaiian robes billowing in the breeze,
just like spectacularly behind you. So you are getting towards the center of this. It's kind of like a small town, big village of Sildale. There's this big plaza. In the center of the plaza is a fountain with the recognizable statue of Brandon Heffingly, and atop the statue are two goblins that are sawing off his head, and around them everything is chaos. Like there is fighting in the streets. There are it looks like there are some sort of weird twisted elves, not really like the elves that you've heard of, and they seem to be fighting the folk of Sildale, and the folk of Sildale are giving it their best. If you look closely, you can also see that there appears to be a man that you recognize, who is Lord Harper Algery, and he is he's kind of a recluse. Nobody really knows very much about him, and he seems to be on the side of these weird elves and these goblins, and seems to be fighting off and defending this central fountain area where they are sawing this head off this statue. And to your right, there is a man who is saying, Back, you fiends! I will take all of you, you goddamn cowards! And so forth. And that looks like the statue. It is Brandon, who is sort of brashly fighting off a bunch of these weird elves. It's mostly elves, seemingly, that people are that are around the place. Swords are flying. What are you going to do?
Kind of relieved that when they said they were cutting off Brandon's head, they meant the statue and not.
Yeah, they could have been a bit clearer.
Yeah. Actually,
But Bengobart's going to settle down a little bit when you realise just that it's the statue that's in danger. But he's also just going to like step forward and start like shouting to the goblins on the statue, just like, "How dare you? That's solid marble. Leave that alone. Get down from there."
The goblins look at you. It's like no one has noticed you guys up until this point. The goblins like look at you, look nervously back at Lord Algieri, and then start soaring faster. And are like, and yeah, I think Lord Algieri didn't even recognize. Lord Algieri, he is dressed in quite sort of fancy clothes, but you can kind of see that there's something, I don't know, something weird about his form. He doesn't move normally. It's a bit strange. But you have attracted the attention of a nearby one of these weird elves, and he looks towards you and says, "Get out of here, or we'll give you some pain." And then another elf goes, "Ooh, some pain. That sounds like fun." Mm.
these are weird elves.
What if we don't want pain, but we want to stay?
Well, you were given your warning. And one of them will knock an arrow and fire it at you, Ember Tongue.
All right,
What are you
then. I am going to try and probably duck out the way.
Okay, cool.
Possibly behind Hart.
Okay.
Because he is much bigger than me.
So I think that's going to be a Defy Danger, which is one of the basic moves, and you will get to do the first roll of our game. And from this, every single following roll depends. If it's good, it means every roll will be good. So roll 2d6, and it sounded like you're getting out of the way, so that's Dexterity.
Oh no. That's just a flat. Okay.
How is that your dump stat?
5.
Ooh, you rolled a 5. So mark experience. That's the good part. The bad part is that the arrow thunks into your shoulder. Roll a d4 for me.
Okay. Oh, you didn't tell me I needed a d4.
Okay, roll a
What
d6
is this?
then. That's okay.
No.
Somebody else
roll
can roll
a
a
d8
d4.
and half it.
Okay, very good, very good.
Oh, that's a 4.
That's a 4. Take 4 damage. Bear in mind that if you have any armor, that reduces damage by that amount.
I don't have any armor written down, so no.
Okay, fair enough. Oh yeah, because you're a salamander. You're just like a fiery little salamander. Mm-hmm. Okay. It looks like the other elf is intent on following forward. Brandon is screaming some more, like, "You, like, thanks for joining the fight. Let's get them," in like a really generic. He's a real jerk. Everyone hates him, but you know. Sorry, I should have asked. You've just seen your Hart. You've just seen Ember Tongue take an arrow in the shoulder. What are you going to do?
I think we're missing a lot of information about what's going on here. I think a strategic retreat is in order, frankly. Okay. I think I'm going to exchange the the beast's head for Embertongue, who, if at all possible, I will literally just pick up, and I'll try and dash out of harm's way and find somewhere to not leave the town, but find somewhere not where the center of attention to kind of regroup and discuss what's going on.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so that sounds a little bit. So obviously that's like quite an elaborate set of actions. So I guess the first thing you're going to do is run over to Embertongue and try to get them out of the immediate area of danger.
I think I suppose we can boil it down to if everyone kind of consents to leaving or at least regrouping, can we get out of harm's way while we try and understand things rather than a bazillion rolls?
Okay. Maybe. Would everyone be okay with that? Is everyone on board with that plan?
I don't know what Binklebart's reaction to this is. As
Binklebart's going to be reluctant at first, but as soon as an arrow is fired, they are all for running away. As soon as there is any sign of any sort of present danger, they're going to run away. Yeah,
and leaving your grandnephew behind.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Brandon's there alone to deal with whatever this is.
He has half the time to help him.
Yeah,
he has. Although he is holding off a lot of elves himself. They do look like they are going to overwhelm him. I will say that.
Well, it's like my grandfather always said: "Heaven helps those who helps their elf."
Oh,
that was a beautiful moment. Okay, so Are you also in favour of trying to scout out a tactical moment to re-enter the fray?
I think so. I think we'll kind of discuss with Binklebart first. It's like,
let's get out of here.
What is going on? Once we got to safety, I suppose.
I think, as far as Embertongue goes, there will probably be shouting insults over Hart's shoulder as they are carried away. So with, fire on you, burn the darkness from your heart. But to be honest, they are so small. They're a bit wriggly, but they're so small, Hart could probably just grapple them out of there fairly easily.
Okay, so you're kind of up for fighting a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I think you're doing an interfere with Hart. So it sounds like how many bonds do you have with Embertongue?
Let me see. More than one.
Because you roll
2.
plus bond. So you roll plus 2. So roll 2d6 and add 2 to it because you're
just him or me as well.
He's trying to interfere with you.
Right.
Okay.
Your general thing.
6 plus 2 is 8.
6 plus 2 is 8. Okay, so that is on a 10 plus. They take +1 or -2 to their like preferred course of action. You can choose. So I'm assuming you're choosing -2 because you're trying to interfere with them. But on a 7 to 9. You also expose yourself to danger, retribution, or cost. So the cost is that if you turn your back to these elves, they are going to try and seize the opportunity to attack you. So now Embertongue, I want you to. I think. You're still staying around to like see what the situation is? Is that correct?
I guess just me.
So Embertongue, you're trying to fight some more.
Yeah.
And Hart wants to learn more about the situation. I think I might have done this wrong in that case because actually. Discern realities is the thing for somebody who wants to figure out. So I think I should actually let's scratch that aid or interfere roll because
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily clear exactly what Embertongue would be trying to like. It's just trying to sort of worm their way past. And actually, Hart, I want you to roll discern realities, which is just a 2d6 again, and sorry, plus wisdom.
Plus wisdom. Not my dump stat. +1. 2d6 +1. 9.
Okay, you can let's say you can ask one of the following questions: what happened here recently? What is about to happen? What should I be on the lookout for? What here is useful or valuable to me? Who's really in control here? And what here is not what it appears to be?
I think, I don't mean to set the precedent that Hart is a mercenarial person, but I think I need to know what is useful or valuable to me in terms of getting to the bottom of this.
What is useful or valuable to you in terms of getting to the bottom of this?
Yeah.
I mean, there's literal value. So does Hart care very much about station?
As in status?
Yes.
Demonstrably not.
Does he care very much about money?
Enough to get by. Not at the cost of moral scruples.
So I think probably the most useful or valuable piece of information then is that you know that in the statue, Brandon, in the statue of Brandon, there are 2 gemstones that do not necessarily do not have any particular value, except for that they are said to have the property of maintaining a protective barrier around the village.
Spicy. So what's okay.
So that is just something that you heard a rumor of in a drunken bar fight. I'm just like, what does Hart do? Yeah. So that's giving you some inclination of
so it makes sense to weigh in on the side of the city's defenders then, because the safety of the city is at stake. Town, I suppose.
And I think I will say that let's actually not do the aiding and interfering unless you are still intending on immediately trying to get away.
With a kind of moment of realization, I think I'll abandon that plan, and having made some distance between our enemies, I'll draw my rapier and prepare to do bits with the nasty elves.
Okay. And Binklebart, what are you doing?
So as soon as the arrow is fired, Binklebart is going to dive behind the nearest large object.
That would be a cart.
Yeah, okay. So dive behind a cart. And it's just kind of cowering there, trying to almost psych himself up a little bit to the point where he can actually cast a spell.
Okay.
It'll probably take a little while for him to actually encourage himself, though, because
Okay. All right. So you're trying to take cover. So I think that makes you less of a target. Embertongue, you've been shot, and Hart has kind of started backing off and sort of started trying to get you to back off as well a little bit. What are you doing?
I am going to... If Hart's already drawn his weapon, I'm going to summon the fire inside me in preparation of righteous fury. And I'm going to essentially cast Burning Brand and conjure a weapon of pure flame.
Okay.
Which I'm going to say is, for me, a sword. For most people, it's a dagger.
Okay. There's a small fire weapon.
Tiny fiery friend.
Maybe it looks very much like Hart's rapier.
That would be adorable. So for this, I roll plus Constitution, which
Yep.
is a +1. Oh, come on! I roll a 6, so it's a. So I do
7.
summon it, I think, but I don't get
Yep.
any of the extra tags.
So yes, the weapon always begins with the fiery, touch, dangerous tags and 3 uses. So you can use it up to 3 times. Yeah, so choose one of those. Choose one of the tags: hand, thrown or near, +1 damage, and remove the dangerous tag.
But I didn't get 7 to 9. So does that mean
Oh, I
I
thought
get
you got
none
s-
of the tags?
Oh, you got 6.
I rolled 6.
Okay.
What does
Where
that
did
mean? I
you
should fail.
+1 for charisma?
So
That's already. I rolled 5, total of 6.
okay. So what happens then? Mark a point of experience for failing. And what do you do usually to summon the weapon? Is it like you rub your hands together, or?
I think I just like sort of half clench my tiny fists,
Okay.
and just like the fire forms an arc between them, and
Okay.
that I can then grab.
Okay. So you clench your fists like this, and the fire forms between them, and it's like it's growing, and then you like suddenly you get like a stab of pain from the arrow that's lodged in your shoulder, and that brief moment of hesitation, and the fire like arcs off like like the solar flares where they like, and it strikes a nearby building, catching it alight. Yeah, and you don't have a magical weapon.
Still a win.
You hear some people saying, "My house is on fire."
They should thank me.
Okay.
I give like a
Okay, and sure. So the other elf is like, I am going to flay you. And he, sorry, and this is the other elf, and she goes towards, she moves towards Embertongue. Hart, are you going to do anything about it?
Yeah, absolutely want to attack or interfere with her, perhaps. Just definitely. I'm the meat shield when this is when there's adventuring combat to be done. When the swashbuckling hits the swashbuckle fan.
This sounds very much like defend, when you stand in defense of a person.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So roll plus Constitution.
Con is flat. 11.
Okay, so you rolled a 10 plus, which means you get hold 3. And what that means is you get like 3 uses. And there's a list of things which are basically, you can redirect an attack from the thing you defend to yourself. You can halve the attack's effect or damage. You can open up the attacker to an ally, giving that ally a bonus. Or you can deal damage to the attacker equal to your level, which is 1. So they come forward and they attempt to skewer Embertongue through the belly. And are you going to spend any of your hold?
Oh, absolutely. I am going to get in front of that attack. I'm going to probably take the blow, not.
Yep.
A swashbuckler, but not a practice swashbuckler, maybe a little sloppy. But I'm also going to, with my force, kind of rotate that combat around a bit so that Embertongue will be open to attack the next time.
Okay, so you sort of reach out and you like catch the like, I don't know, just catch it against your shoulder or something.
Yeah, I just try and get myself in between it, and it catches up my arm or something.
And it like lodges in, and it knocks them off balance. So now they're now they're very vulnerable. Embertongue, are you going to capitalize on this?
Yes, definitely. So is my okay? I don't have any weapons in my equipment, so I'm assuming my burning brand is my main weapon, right?
I think it is your main weapon. Although, I guess you also have the open flame of the house nearby, which potentially you could use as a weapon.
That is true.
You know, but yes, burning brand tends to be one of the. While you consider this, let's cut to Binkelbart, who is just sort of taken several breaths. It seems like they've lost your attention because they're busy dealing with Heart and Embertongue. The goblins are like sort of desperately trying to get the last little bit of that, and Lord Harper is actually, I think because they're involved in combat, I think you'll notice that Lord Harper is fighting several people at once, but the way in which he's fighting is really weird. Like strange fleshy protrusions seem to like come forth from him and hit people and sweep their legs, and it's really strange. And he definitely seems to be somewhat in charge here. You obviously see your friends in danger. What are you going to do?
Okay, as soon as I see Embertongue in danger, I'm going to try and cast the one spell that I can reliably cast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to fire magic missile at the elf that's attacking them.
Okay. So the one that's close up rather than the one with
yeah. So casting a spell.
Yep.
Release a spell you've prepared. Roll plus intelligence.
Yep.
Ooh. Okay. 7. Just.
But
rolled a 5, and I've got 2 intelligence. So
okay. So on a 7 to 9, the spell is cast, but choose one. You draw unwelcome attention or put yourself in a spot. The spell disturbs the fabric of reality as it is cast, and you take -1 ongoing to cast a spell. Or after it is cast, the spell is forgotten. You cannot cast again until you prepare spells.
But I definitely can't forget the only spell that I know. So I think it's going to draw unwelcome attention because I'm casting a spell at them.
Okay. So how do you cast your spells?
So I think after much psyching up and kind of like encouraging words to himself, he's going to like stand up from behind the crate, and because he's been there so long, the entire battlefield has changed position. So he kind of looks around in confusion and then sees someone trying to stab Embertongue. So he's going to kind of reach out his hand, and like a purplish blob of energy kind of shoots out of his hand.
Okay.
Towards the elf that's attacking Embertongue.
Perfect. And so what is the damage of magic missile? It's 2d4 to one target.
Yeah.
Okay. Deal your damage.
That is 2 damage. Lovely.
Okay. Okay, so you do that damage, and the elf kind of like a searing purple hole unfortunately hits like a largely armored part of their body, but it does seem to like explode that piece of armor and dig in, and they like and then they go ooh, and yeah, you're not sure exactly what's going on.
Okay, and in like a classic comedy moment, he's going to like go, aha, and then look around and see all of the enemies are now looking at him.
So most of the others have not immediately looked at him, have not immediately noticed Binkelbart, but Lord Harper definitely did.
Okay, right.
And, when he sees you, he will look at you, and he will like sort of a slight look of panic in his eyes, because like thinking on it, maybe you recognize this person from the academy or something. Not really sure. Anyway, yeah. He out of his like chest comes like a small, like fleshy orb, and he like whispers something to it, and then turns invisible.
Okay.
Emberton, what are you doing?
Can Bickelbart, like, after casting the spell and realizing that Harper is gone invisible and is probably coming after them, just go, oh no, and then dive back under the cart?
Absolutely. So you dive back under the cart. There is an invisible and incredibly powerful foe coming for you. Or maybe not, maybe going somewhere else, who knows? Embertongue, how Hart has just opened up their defenses, but also has a blade embedded in his shoulder. By the way, Hart, did you take any damage for that?
I did not.
Okay, well that will be a D6.
Oof.
Yes.
And I have to roll it as well.
Yes, you do.
Incredulous. And I rolled a 6.
Oof. Okay.
We're rolling so bad, guys.
Bear in mind, I mean, you're rolling really great, but for the enemies, if you have armor, bear in mind that subtracts just directly from the damage. So he sort of cleaves. She cleaves pretty hard into your shoulder.
Ouch!
Isn't it lovely?
It's that weird elf.
I figured out what these elves thing is.
Is there a pun that's going to land here in about 10 hours?
There's never any puns. No. Anyway, Embertongue. However, despite this, Hart has successfully opened itself up to attack. What are you going to do?
I'm going to not exactly pretend, but believe that setting the house on fire is what I meant to do to start with.
Okay.
And I'm going to seize control of the fire as it burns in the ivy trellis in the side of this idyllic cottage.
With the person inside just going, my house is on fire!
And I'm going to draw it to me and bring it down on my enemies. So I'm going to use fantastically named Zuko style spell.
Okay, and tell me how that works.
So I roll plus wisdom. On a 10 plus, it does as I command, taking the shape and movement I desire, for as long as it has fuel on which to burn. And on 7 to 9, the effect is short-lived, lasting only a moment.
Okay.
So my wisdom is a +1.
I believe in you.
Which is 8 total.
Okay, so it's a short-lived effect, lasting only a moment. However, only a moment of an entire house's worth of flame descending upon an individual is actually quite serious. Can you roll a d6?
Yes. I'm going to roll this one, because it's rolling the best so far.
Okay, very good.
3.
Okay, so the elf takes 3 damage. Okay, so the elf is on death's door. The elf sees the fire, sort of and then looks away, and the fire just goes everywhere. Goes into their eyes, goes into their mouth. It catches fire to them. All of their clothes are on fire. They were for some reason wearing surprisingly flammable clothes, and they are this close to dead, and their clothes are on fire. So I don't know. And then they start screaming or maybe laughing. It's really not clear, but it's kind of a weak. Oh, it's getting weaker as a scream. The other elf goes, "Oh, I'm so jealous," and fires another arrow at. So I don't think he's seen Binklebart. Fires an arrow at Hart. Embertongue, are you going to do anything about that? By the way, after the fire sort of went out, the fire from the house went out very quickly, but the clothes are still on fire.
can I chain bend that fire and grant this elf's wish to set it on
Wait,
fire?
which they both wish to be burned to death. Which elf do you are you? Do you
The
mean?
one who said they were jealous.
Oh, the one that said that they were jealous. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Roll the same.
Okay. That is a 7.
Okay, a 7. So, what are you doing with fire? Are you mainly concerned with protecting Heart or with finishing the elf?
That is a good question. Probably protecting Heart.
Okay, so I'll say that on a 7, you reach out with the fire and you feel it like in your power, and you realize that it's too far to jump because it needs like a fuel source. As they fire the arrow, they let it go, and the fire can jump to the arrow and burn it up midair. And so it like shatters into dust. Heart, what are you doing?
I mean, a round of applause for that. Is there any? So, if there's nothing left for me to dodge, I will apply my swash to that gentleman's buckle. I'm going to hack and slash him.
Okay, so are you using the rapier?
Yes, absolutely using my worn but posh-looking rapier.
And is this the one who's got their clothes on fire, or is this the archer?
I think I'm going to go for the archer because he's causing the most trouble at this stage.
Okay.
So, here we go. 7 plus strength, which I believe is a number. Oh, 6.
Okay. Mark a point of experience. And you, I think you get into a sort of, you run up to the elf with their bow. They drop their bow immediately and switch to a short blade. They use it's got like hooks on it, and they use it to twist the rapier out of your hand, and the rapier goes skittering away under the cart where Binklebart is. Binklebart, you have just felt the urge to sneeze. And in fact, you have just sneezed.
Oh dear. Okay. Knowing what this means, Bringlebot is going to try and crawl away as fast as possible on his hands and knees.
A rapier comes like skittering across the floor towards you.
Okay.
I'm not. You don't have to do anything with the rapier if you don't want to. But
could I see where it had come from?
It came from your friend Hart.
Okay.
Who'd just been disarmed by an elf.
Okay. Binglebot is going to yelp as the rapier comes clattering towards them, and then realize that it's Hart's rapier, so he's going to try and flick it back towards them with his staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in a bit of danger. Can you? I think this is defying danger because presumably you're aware that there's an invisible foe trying to kill you.
Yeah.
How are you intending to not what sort of thing are you trying to do to avoid the danger of this guy stabbing you?
I'm trying to crawl away from where I'm sneezing as fast as possible.
Okay, and are you using your sort of intuition about where to go, or is that?
Yeah, anywhere that doesn't make me sneeze.
Okay, so you're like warmer, colder with the sneeze. Cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so I think that is either intelligence or wisdom.
I'll go intelligence because
roll either of those.
My wisdom is terrible.
That seems like you're using quick thinking.
Yeah. Okay, so that is 8.
Okay.
8 in total.
So that means that you stumble, hesitate, or flinch. I will offer you the choice of either you can let the rapier go and avoid all damage, or you can get the rapier back to heart and open yourself up to damage and harm.
I'm going to try and get the rapier back to heart.
Okay.
Because also he doesn't really know where the danger is, so it makes sense that he gets hit.
Okay. So roll a d4, please.
Okay. Two.
Okay. You roll a 2, take 2 damage. And at this point,
I don't think I'll reduce that with my books. I'm okay to.
It's not a desperate moment.
Damage. No.
Okay. At this point, Brandon has apparently successfully, maybe because of the distraction of these two that were taken away, has fought off a couple of guys and has picked up I think a goblin, and thrown the goblin through the air across the thing. Just sort of, he's an enormous man, this Brandon, and he's just cast this goblin aside. But he happened to throw it in your direction, and the goblin collides with an invisible object and yelps. And as he does that, the invisibility on that portion where he was hit dissipates, and you can see Lord Harper there, and Brandon goes, he's invisible, and continues to say fairly obvious things. Overall, the tide of the fight seems to be going in your favor. The elf on the ground has just expired with a strangely beatific look on their face, and I think at the point at which he gets hit by the goblin, Lord Harper will say, "Get what we came here for and let us go." And he sort of backs off, and he backs towards the fountain again, realizing that the tides may be turning. The elf who was in close combat with Hart sort of briefly and kind of backs off towards the fountain once more. What are you guys? What are you going to do, Emtong?
I'm going to shout after the elf that is retreating. I can burn you if you like.
And
die without shadow.
The elf turns and is like, I would love to, but I really must be going. And Brandon is like, we must stop them, and is charging towards where they are.
Are the goblins still on top of the statue, trying to cut off the head?
Okay, it's good that you asked that. As the goblins have just finished sawing off the head, and they're one of them is pushing the last of the head off, and the other one's holding a sack.
Can Binklebart is there anyone between him and the statue?
I think there is the Lord Algeri.
Okay, that's fine. In which case, he's gonna go to try and beat up the goblins, but then realize that there's someone who can actually use magic in between him and the goblins, and is gonna freeze for a moment and then just look around for allies.
Okay. So the townsfolk seem to be closing in on the Lord. One person comes out of the house with a a large pan and is like, "You, like, how dare you burn my house down?" The fire has gone out because you sucked it away, but like, yeah, luckily they seem to be blaming Lord Algiri for this problem, and they form like a circle. The melee sort of closes around this fountain. Yeah, what are you guys going to do?
So I don't suppose the elf who disengaged left his bow on the ground.
Did.
Oh, wow. And I don't suppose luck is on my side and perhaps there might be an arrow spare.
Drop the quiver as well.
Great. I'm going to... the goblin with the sack, I'm going to take aim and a volley at
So is your intention to like to take out the goblin or the sack?
I think the goblin. This is a volley attack. It's an attack.
Okay, sure. So you're trying to shoot the enemy. Go for it. Roll plus dexterity.
Plus dex, if I recall, is not terrible.
Can I also try and take a shot at the goblin with concentrating and trying to draw more fire forth?
Okay. And, so is this you using
alongside Heart?
Yeah.
No, this is me summoning fire to try my burning brand again.
Okay, very good.
If I succeed, I can throw it.
Go for it.
Perfect. Right.
Roll that.
6.
6 mark experience, and so you were trying to fire an arrow. I think you just you take like 3 shots, and all of them miss.
Okay.
Like you do one that is absolutely bang on, but the goblin like manages to like get the bag in front of it, and it like clinks into the head rather than like hitting the goblin. And 2 just go wide, unfortunately. And yourself, John, how did you do with your burning brand?
I also rolled a 6.
You rolled a 6. Okay, so and your intent. What was your intent?
My intent was to like again pull forth like a daggery thing and then like heft it like a javelin and throw it.
Okay. I'll say that that you successfully do throw a javelin made out of fire into that melee in the middle. You do throw a flaming javelin right in there, and somebody yelps. Binklebart, what are you doing?
So I am also going to try and shoot that goblin. So I think all 3 of us probably try and fire at the goblin at exactly the same time. So let's see how it goes.
Is it another 6?
That's a 4 in total. I rolled a 2.
What exactly were you trying to do?
I was trying to shoot a magic missile at the goblin that was holding the bag.
Okay. Actually, I think on a 6 for the wizard that has a bad effect that's different from what happened.
Right, I rolled a 4 in total.
Yeah, if you fail on casting a spell, it just doesn't cast.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that one of your books like catches fire or like it explodes in magical energy. Because it like you try and activate the magic within yourself, and you successfully activate the magic within the book on your hip, and it goes poof. And oh man, that would have been a powerful spell if it had been aimed at a thing. Okay, so Brandon is sort of descending upon the Lord, and there's one of the villagers has like a flaming javelin in their like abdomen, and they are like passing out. Brandon is like using his mace on the Lord, who is like weird like tendrils are like flashing out of him to like parry and attack and claw, and it's like his flesh is malleable. It's really, really horrifying to watch. And Brandon nevertheless seems to be getting the better of him and knocks him to the ground. And there's the goblins with the hat, and they look like sorry, that not the hat, the head, and they all look like freaked out. And is there anything, I don't know, are you doing anything while Brandon is trying to get the better of these people?
I'll be providing moral support in the form of encouraging words, but only in those noises that posh people make that aren't really words.
Okay.
Just like, good show. Yeah.
So Brandon, hearing those words, is like looks actually like he was getting a bit tired, but he looks enlivened by somebody speaking his language, and only another one of his kin could possibly have only another pure Heffingly could know the exact words that would get this spoiled brat to like, and he like surges to action. He's like he's basically got the Lord at his mercy at this point. He's battered down the defenses and is about to strike a killing blow when time seems to freeze, and you all hear a voice. Actually, it sounds like many voices speaking all in unison at the same time that say, "Time to pay up." And the Lord, who is like lying in the fountain, like soaked, for the first time.
We lost you, Pierre.
Come on, Pierre, you can do it.
Absolutely. I realize. Where did you lose me?
For the first time.
Okay, for the first time, the Lord, you see the look of fear on his face. He didn't look afraid that Brandon would kill him, but hearing the voice saying "time to pay up," or the many voices saying that, he is visibly disturbed. He like, please, one more chance. I'll give you anything. And the voices respond, "You know what I want." And he says, "Take it, take it." And you see like a weird sort of sphere of darkness, almost some strange line in the world that looks kind of wrong, and it kind of encompasses the Lord and the goblins and the elves who have made it back inside. It's like a sort of 15 foot in diameter, and Brandon's inside the circle along with the person who's been impaled, who's sort of, you know, doing badly. And Brandon like takes one look and grabs the person who has been wounded and pushes them outside of the sphere. And at that moment, you hear like this weird crack, and everything within that sphere just vanishes into a tiny point, like in the center of the Lord. And all that you see on the ground are a pair of Brandon's hands, severed and bleeding. And I think that's where we will take a break. So yeah.
Well then.
Cliffhanger.
Shortly.
Very nice. Very nice.